Jeremy Shields as our valedictorian.
Hello, class of 2016, friends, family, faculty, and staff. It is my great privilege and pleasure today to represent my class, with whom I have studied, worked, lived, and matured over the past 4 years. My classmates all know me well enough by now to predict that my speech will likely be too long and use lots of big words whose definitions they don't much care to look up. For your guys' sake and no one else's, I'll try to be brief, but I'll probably still use the big words. But first, I must speak to all of the leaps of faith, dedication, encouragement, and love that I have so abundantly and undeservedly received throughout my time at CFS. So many men and women have contributed in cherished, yet all too often underappreciated ways to making us the graduates we are today. For my part, I'd like to thank some of these people, without whom I certainly would not have been the student who stands before you today. To Mr. Fulmer, only an advisor as real as you can both reinforce my strengths, like schoolwork and college participation, and encourage me in my failings, like trampoline basketball at Sky Zone or the ring toss at the Halloween Carnival, which I never once managed to win. Thank you for being a great advisor and an even greater teacher. To Ms. Young, you only taught me Spanish in one class 3 years ago, but ever since you have resolutely refused to stop teaching me everywhere else. Not even a concussion can keep you from excelling at everything you do. You have been my teacher, my confidant, and my friend. Thank you for everything. To Mrs. Hughes, I have not done anywhere near enough to express to you how much joy your teaching style, your presence, and your sense of humor have brought to my everyday life at Church Farm School. A day without your class on the schedule was a disappointment, and for all the times I might have complained about the homework, I couldn't get enough of spending time in your classroom with my Spanish peeps and with you. I can only hope that college offers professors as uplifting, talented, and devoted as you. And to everyone, past and present, who has ever been a part of Garrett Cottage, in particular Mr. Roberts, Brandon, and every Garrettier with whom I have lived, grown, and learned for the better part of my CFS career. There is no way I could have become the person I am today if not for all of you. The number of hikes to the inch and midnight Scrabble tournaments and Garrett games and snowball fights, as well as family crises and emotional trials that have reminded me that adult life will not always be as comfortable as we might prefer, have all contributed to building a home that sustains me in good times and in bad. If God has had a hand in any of my Church Farm School experience, and I know He has, it has been in bringing me to Garrett Cottage and opening my eyes to just how blessed my life is by every one of my Griffin brothers. If my high regard for the community at CFS has been lost on anyone, allow me to clarify that for the class of 2016, Church Farm School has extended itself in purpose and significance far beyond the role of a regular school. To be sure, it's not as if we all fell in love with it from the outset. I know I speak for more than just myself when I say that the boarding school scene did not at first seem like the extraordinary, life-changing opportunity that was advertised in the brochures. Few, if any of us, were thrilled with the dining options, or the homesickness, or the evening study hall hours, but the most trying event of my CFS experience was without doubt the long and arduous transition into college living. Any one of the few remaining seniors who lived with me in St. Martin's can attest that I had a difficult freshman year. School had never been a challenge for me, but I quickly came to understand that CFS required more of me than any school I'd ever known. Sports, meetings, ceremonies, lights out, curfews, angry roommates, and angrier cottage parents all called for adjustments not only to my study habits, but also to my way of life. At first, I was too much of a typical self-centered teenager to do anything but complaining. Compassion, however, is something that I discovered through hardship. I remember when in 10th grade, a friend of mine and member of my cottage was suddenly withdrawn from the school. This was perhaps the first time that I felt true heartache for something that was completely out of my control. In the sorrow of realizing that someone I had lived with and grown to consider a friend would no longer be coming to class or gaming or simply staying up talking about all the things brothers do together, I finally understood what Church Farm School had been preaching to me about brotherhood. And when you realize that you're surrounded by a family as numerous as the breadth of a high school campus, it's hard not to want to be a part of it. It's never an easy task to leave behind the things we've grown accustomed to. I'm sure high school graduation is a painful transition for anybody, at least for those of us who enjoyed our experience. But if I haven't made myself clear already, the class of 2016 is leaving more than just a high school. We're leaving our home. More than a place we've grown accustomed to, Church Farm School is a place we've grown to love. Because here there is more to be found than just classrooms and buildings, but memories and people that have been pivotal in changing us from the troublesome boys we were when we arrived into the men that we are now. So as we depart today, I would ask my brothers in the class of 2016 not to take a moment for granted, whether it be one of the few that we have left together here at CFS, or the countless more that we'll encounter elsewhere in the future. And I pray that wherever we find ourselves after CFS, we might be blessed enough to call that community our home and its constituents our family. Although some might expect me to make the oft-repeated remark that, as a senior who has endured 4 years under the oppressive regime of an all-boys boarding school, I'm all but flying off of campus faster than my mother's car can pull out the driveway. But I can't, because it's not true. For all the excitement that college has to offer, I can't get any of this out there, and I can't have endless conversations with Brandon, or take a half-minute walk to any of my friends' houses with Zishan, and I can't see all of you every day like I used to. And no matter when it is that I choose to come back and visit, it won't be quite the same home that I left without each and every one of you to revel in it with me. Church Farm School has taught me that any given moment with your brothers can become a memory that lasts a lifetime. Don't let those moments pass you by.